Finally, justice has been served for Ijeoma Nneke, the young girl who was brutally murdered in November of 2020 after going to meet a client who requested a makeup service. The suspected killer, Chiamaka Ifeazu, has been sentenced to death by hanging. At the initial time, it was her and her brother that were arrested in connection to Ijeoma's murder. But somewhere along the line, her brother was discharged as the judge said he couldn't find enough evidence, like there wasn't enough evidence to prove that he had a hand in the girl's death. Unfortunately for his sister Chiamaka, on the 7th of February 2024, after 3 years of trial, she was found guilty of killing Ijeoma Nneke and was sentenced to death by hanging. But my problem is, I hated the fact that they discharged the brother because I think he is guilty. I think he took part in it. There is just something about Chukwuemeka, the brother, getting discharged that does not sit well with me because he too should be hanged. But this story is really very sad because Ijeoma was killed because of a man. This is just two girls fighting over a man and one taking it to the extreme. Even the man that Chiamaka killed Ijeoma for has probably moved on with his life. He has maybe dated more girls. He's probably married with kids now. So was it really worth it? Is it really worth it? I feel like this story should be a lesson to a lot of young girls and maybe guys too in this time and age. No one is worth killing for and no one is worth dying for.
I don't mind that you are going to cause you. Stay here. If I go to give that answer, this lady that took me home. Look at that. The general they did it. I want to shoot you to hell. You people are supposed to
In November of 2020, Ijeoma, who is a makeup artist and also a student in Enugu, got a phone call from a strange number requesting her makeup service. You know, she's a makeup artist and she usually does go to homes to render home service. Now, when she got this phone call from this strange number, she did not know who the person was and the person requested her service. The smart thing she did was ask how the person got her number, and the caller said that it was a reference, that somebody she had worked for was the one who connected her. So Ijeoma thought, okay, it's interesting and it's exciting that she's getting recommendations. And so she picked the job and agreed to come do a makeup for the client that called. Now, Ijeoma did not even know it was Chiamaka. It's also possible that Ijeoma did not know who Chiamaka is. So after Ijeoma accepted the job, on the day of the makeup, the 11th of November 2020, she went to the junction, and at the bus stop, it was a young man that came to pick her, which we are thinking is Chukwuemeka, the brother, was the one who came to pick Ijeoma from the junction because she was being directed on the phone as to the address she's coming to for the job. So when Ijeoma got there, a young man came to pick her up to take her to the place where she would do the makeup for her new client. All the while, it appeared that Ijeoma was feeling uneasy because she did not know who this person was and the direction was just left and right. The person wasn't even straightforward with the address. So instead of giving her a direct address, they told her to stop at a junction, at a bus stop. And when she stops there, they will come and pick her. Now, that was a red flag. So when Ijeoma got there, Ijeoma was picked and taken to the house where she was going to do the makeup for the client. But due to her being uneasy, she did one very smart thing. She texted her brother the phone number of the client and said, you know, this is who I'm speaking with you. I think she also texted a friend. So when she went to the job, that was the last time anyone saw her. For the next 5 days, no one would hear or see Ijeoma again. People were trying to reach her. Posts were flying on the internet about her whereabouts. You know, people were tweeting about her. She has been missing and no one knew where she was. Her disappearance was a shock because no one saw it coming. On the 16th of November, that was when her body was eventually sighted, dumped along the roadside in Maryland, in Enugu. And when they saw her body, they noticed that some kind of acidic chemical had been poured all around her face to disfigure it, just to make sure she is not easily recognizable. And that was how Ijeoma was found many days later after she disappeared going for a makeup job. But just like we said, Ijeoma did a very smart thing by texting her brother the phone number of the client that called. And when the investigation started for her case, the brother presented that phone number to the police, and that phone number was traced to Chiamaka, and Chiamaka was immediately arrested along with her brother Nneke, and they were both taken into custody, and their house was searched, and in that house they found the makeup kit that belonged to Ijeoma, and they also found a vehicle that is believed to have transported her body. It was then that the police were able to put a connection between the two girls. Somehow were able to learn that Chiamaka and Ijeoma had someone in common. Ijeoma was at the time dating a young man who used to be Chiamaka's ex-boyfriend. Pretty much Chiamaka and Ijeoma's current boyfriend at the time were exes. So when Chiamaka heard that her ex-boyfriend had moved on to a new girl, she picked offense and decided to trace her and then faked the call to lure her with a makeup job so that she could meet her in person. And it is believed that when Ijeoma came to Chiamaka's house for the makeup, it is possible Ijeoma did not know who Chiamaka was. It's one thing if she knew who Chiamaka was, but there's a chance that she did not know who this girl was. So she clearly did not even know who was killing her. Somehow, some way, she was held captive, and it is believed that she was forced to drink an acidic substance that caused her death. It's not clear how long they kept her for, given that it was 5 days later her body was found. So it is possible that they held her captive for a while. Now, this is my thing. This is why I feel like the brother just got scot-free. The brother literally, I don't know what played, because it was confirmed that Ijeoma was picked up at the junction by the brother, by a young man. So clearly Chiamaka did not do this alone. If Chiamaka is being found guilty of killing Ijeoma, are we saying Chiamaka was the one who came to pick Ijeoma from the junction? Are we saying Chiamaka was the one who tied her down and held her captive for only God knows how long before they eventually killed her? Because if they had killed her that same day she went to the house, her body would have probably started decomposing soon enough. Keeping it for 5 days is a little risky. So which meant, and which is possible, that Ijeoma was held down and tied down captive. So that is why I feel like this young man here most likely took part in that whole scenario of keeping her captive. Because I feel like Ijeoma by herself, if Chiamaka had to do it all alone, Ijeoma would have a fighting chance. It would be a reasonably fair fight. Ijeoma would most likely fight back. They said she was held down and forced to drink a poisonous substance. Chiamaka would not have done that all by herself. So there is definitely someone who did it with her. And that is why I think it's the brother who did it. But for some reason, somehow the judge did not find enough evidence to tie him down and he was let go. But this is what I think, because this case stalled for too long. 3 whole years for something that was too obvious is too much. If it was a complicated case where there is a chance that foul play or something else or someone was involved, I would understand. But this case was clear from the get-go. We got a confession. We know that they both have a boyfriend in common. And another thing that we got to also know is that these two people were very highly connected. They came from quote-unquote rich homes. So I do feel, because at the initial time I did the story, the family of this girl were telling us that the parents of these two siblings were trying to get away, were trying to find a way to save their children. And I think the parents or the family were most likely doing all they can to stall the case and make sure that none of them go to jail. But given how the evidence is damning and too strong and too obvious, I guess their power could only release one person. I guess whatever shenanigans they could pull, whatever corruption they could do, could only save the guy. And maybe the judge was like, you know what, all right, let's keep one, but one has to be punished because a young girl's life is gone. And that's it. I'm sure if the case had some kind of possibility where there wasn't enough evidence found, maybe their family would have been able to buy both of their freedom. And this girl may not have gotten the justice she needs. I personally have a strong feeling that Chukwuemeka knows about this death of this girl because someone had to drive the car, and it was even said that somebody saw him pour acidic something on the girl's body. It was in the early hours of the morning, very early, when her body was dumped. I read somewhere that somebody saw him pour something on something, but they did not see what he was pouring something on because it was dark. It was when it became daybreak that they realized that it was a dead body there. But somehow he has gotten scot-free. Somehow he has gotten his freedom. And I don't know. I guess in the end, even if he took part in it, the mastermind is the sister Chiamaka, because she's the one who has direct grievances and direct motive to want to kill this young, beautiful girl. And it's a good thing that Chiamaka is going down for it. It's a good thing she's paying for her sins and her crimes. I'm happy to see it. It just took too long, way too long. It's unfair what Ijeoma had to go through because of a guy. And like I already said, there is a possibility that Ijeoma did not even know who Chiamaka was. Probably didn't know because they collected text message of Ijeoma while she was at the crime scene, which meant she probably have already started the makeup and Chiamaka was already trying to pretend. You know, one of those things where you're like trying to find information and then it's unclear when she strikes. This is just horrible. I hope this story gets to go well with a lot of people to learn that as tragic as it is, it's not worth fighting for. No man, no woman is worth killing anyone for. Now the man that she is fighting for so badly has moved on. And now she has lost her life for a boy that is probably married now. It's not really worth it. It's not worth it. These two girls' lives have been destroyed over another person that is gone and moving on with his own life. I wish young girls of these days, these newer young people coming up, don't be fighting over a man. Even guys, don't be fighting over a woman. You can't be killing your fellow girl because of a man, or you be killing your fellow man because of a woman when there are so many out there. Like, it's not worth it. This is what happens when this jealousy and entitlement and possessiveness lands. Someone dies and someone goes to jail or gets hanged. Well, guys, I'm so happy that Ijeoma finally gets her justice. Took too long, way too long. And like I've said, Chukwuemeka should not have gotten free from this, but I guess that is why connection he had stalled the case for so long. And if his freedom is given to him, then so be it. But I'm sure he's going to live with the conscience, or I'm sure he's going to live, hopefully, with the guilty conscience of his role in the death of Ijeoma. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this story, because I guess it's over.